Hello there, welcome to another video from Max Revs where you join me in my 981 GT4 Cayman. What a fantastic car. Now I know you guys want to see me on the move, driving, telling you what I think about the car, but I just thought, you know, I want to hold on to that thought for one moment, because there's one thing I'd like to touch upon before I bring you a video of, you know, me driving the car, telling you what I think about the steering, the shifting and all that kind of good stuff. Is that, you know, I've been looking at every YouTube video I can find on the 981 GT4 and just GT4 products in general. And there's one thing that's sort of been nagging at me, and I think that's missing out there in the world of YouTube, and that's the whole ownership dimension. So many kind of YouTubers, you know, I'm just an amateur, but you know, all the professional ones, they get given the keys to a GT4 for like a couple of hours or a day. They take it on track, they tell you what they think and all that kind of stuff. But how many of them actually own a GT4? So in this video, we're not on the move, and there's a reason for that, not being on the move. I want to focus on the ownership angle. This is my car, okay? No one's lent me the keys for a couple of hours. I'm not bringing you their opinion, or, you know, based on a few hot laps around the track and all that kind of stuff. I own this car. And there's something that I saw on a recent Matt Watson video, and it was something along the lines of, if you own a GT4 and you don't sort of track the car on a regular basis, you shouldn't own the car. It was something along those lines. So if I can get the clip, I'll put it into this video.
Anyone who buys a GT4 and doesn't take it on track days regularly is just, well, they should have the car taken off them.
I cannot disagree with that strongly enough. A GT4 car is not a one-dimensional track weapon. Sure, it will be great on track, but there's so much more to a GT4, and that's the ownership kind of angle. So that's what I'd like to touch upon here, you know, like the spec of the car, the Alcantara, the fact it's a GT product. Just sitting in this cabin is such a special thing. When I was speccing my 718 GTS, there were a lot of things I did not spec, because the truth is they don't change the drive of the car. So extended leather, the Alcantara, there's a lot of money that's been spent on this car, and it doesn't affect the way the car drives, but it does affect the way it makes you feel. And what I'm trying to get across here when I say ownership is, I'm sitting in the cabin of this car, and it's an immense pleasure to take in everything they've done here. You know, the spec, the stitching, you know, everything. It's just absolutely superb how they've kitted out this car. And that's what I mean. I own this car. It's my car. I can actually get pleasure from this even without it being on the move. Whereas everyone else in the YouTube world will say, oh, you got to get it to 7,000 RPM and put it in second gear. And yeah, yes, that stuff's great, but that's one of the dimensions of Cayman ownership. And I think that's what I wanted to touch upon in this video, is that I own this car. I'd like to bring you all the different sensations you get from owning this car, from, you know, I don't know if you can pick it up, from the creaking of the carbon fiber seats as you go over a few bumps, to the noise you get from the engine. There's a little tick, 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 tick noise at certain throttle things, totally normal. I've checked with other owners. You put your foot on the brakes, you kind of get the scrubbing noise coming through the discs and the pads. There's so much to the car which is more than driving. The oral pleasure on this, and I don't do operas, you know, but I know people go to the opera, even if they don't understand Italian, and they get pleasure from that. What I'm trying to say to you is that listening to the noises from that engine, and you know that's not a Cayman engine, that's come out the 911 Carrera. I mean, that engine, just the startup, I mean, sports exhaust, oh my, auto blip, all that stuff. I'll bring you that in future video, but I just wanted to say, you know, coming back to this, will I take this car on track? That's like saying anyone that owns a Rolex Submariner has got to go diving to 100 meters of depth just to put that to use. That's like basically saying you can only wear a suit if you're James Bond, you know, like it's a very one-dimensional play. And, you know, maybe I'm reading too much into this. Do I plan on tracking this car? No, I don't. Not at the moment. Maybe one day I will. Right now, I'm loving this car just on the A and B roads around where I live. It's just a phenomenal vehicle. I'm just so over the moon that it's mine. Yes, it's financed. It would have been nice to have achieved this through some kind of like, I don't know, lottery win or Bitcoin investment. But, you know, as I said, I'm not great at making money. I can just spend it. But it's a phenomenal vehicle. And I think the GT cars are special, and maybe there's a little bit of a snobbery angle here, but I'm not coming at this from a snob point of view. I never felt like I was missing anything with my 987, but knowing that I'm at the pinnacle of the Cayman range, the GT vehicle, you know, I cannot wish for anything else. There is a certain sense of achievement that, however I've got to this place in life, I am in a GT product. not just any GT product. For me, it's the Cayman that's the more special, you know, more than the 911s and stuff. I'm just absolutely loving this car, and that's kind of what I mean by the ownership dimension, is that sitting in this wheel, like, I know that all the stuff I've done in my life to get through here, the hardships and the low ships, whatever you want to call it, it's all to get to a moment like this where I can be behind a wheel of a fantastic car like this. And there's a certain sense of achievement that's coming from knowing that I've got there. Maybe it was a subconscious thing. I always wanted to work my way up to a GT4. I didn't think I did, but just knowing that I'm in this car, it's not a car that I've been given for a couple of hours and there I'm going to just bring you my opinion based on a few hot laps. What I'll like to do, I'll get my mic set up, sorted out. I'll try and really bring you what I feel as a GT4 owner. And if you've got one, I know there's a few of you that got it, let me know in the comments if this is resonating with you. Some people get the whole ownership thing. Other people, they change their car every 2 years on a finance deal, whatever rocks your boat. Me, on the other hand, I hold my cars for a long time. I honestly think I'm not going to be getting rid of this one. You know, like, I cannot think of any reason why. No other car is probably going to enthuse as much passion. Auto blip, this gearbox, this shift, it's a phenomenally great car, but I'll bring you all of that stuff in another video. So the summary of this video, if you still made it to the end, it's all about the ownership, the things that don't affect the drive, the leather, the stitching, Alcantara headrests, this, you know, none of this stuff affects how this car will go around a track. And I would say the GT4 is way more than a track weapon. You derive pleasure just from sitting in this cabin right now. It's just looking at the dials. What can I say? I am enjoying Life and Cars to the max. The next video, I promise you will see this car on the move, and I'll tell you exactly what I think. You know, I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. It's just as phenomenal as they say, and the steering stands out above any other Cayman I've ever driven. Enjoying Life and Cars to the max. See ya.